sales, kind of basically a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Brian, if you wouldn't mind, Patrick, my bad, would you mind introducing yourself and, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, who you are, how long you've been in business and all that.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Deric. Obviously, I've been a fan of yours for quite some time as well. I love the podcast. I try to catch as many episodes as I can. Again, when you're always at the dealership, it's hard to do that when they're in the middle of the afternoon. But luckily or unluckily, being a now recently furlonged COVID-19 casualty from my old dealership, I do have a little bit more time. About me, man, I'm doing this car business thing since I was 15. As a paid dealership employee. I grew up around the car business.
Get into it at 15, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I started as a lot porter, man. Actually, believe it or not, most people don't believe me when I tell them this. I'm a high school dropout, man. I dropped out of high school in 10th grade. And not even all the way through 10th grade. Halfway through 10th grade, I went and got a GED 3 months later. And after that, I was right there on my dad's car dealership lot as a lot porter. I grew up in the car business. My grandfather was an importer-exporter in South Florida. Used to import-export Highline cars when I was a kid. My dad and my uncles owned a bunch of independent car dealerships down in South Florida. So I was always around them. I was always at the auction with my dad from early age. I always tell the story that I believe that the auctions changed the age restrictions to 16 and up. Because when I was about 9 years old, I was at Orlando auction with my dad, and I got so excited that I started jumping in the lane and raising my hand and shit, thinking I was in there buying cars. And they're like, get this kid out of here.
Yeah.
So I grew up around the car business. My dad's still currently in the car business. Even now as he's getting close to 70, I think he actually he'll be 70 in August this year. My dad's still very active, still at the auction all the time. He's used car director for a large dealer group here in Atlanta. My mom's in the car business. She's been a controller for 35 years. She just recently came out of retirement to go to the group that Duck is actually working with. I kind of connected all the dots for all of them together. Him and her actually work at the same location. I'm not going to divulge that location because obviously Ryan wasn't ready to, talk about the where yet. I've done every single job in the automotive industry. I mean, like I said, I started as a lot porter at 15. By 18 years old, I was stoked and I was ready to hit the floor running and go sell cars. And that wasn't the case. My dad sent me to Sutherland Nissan with Christian Valvo and Larry Schultz and Daryl Hagee and Chris Elliott. They sent me over there to sell cars. And my dad said that if I was going to make mistakes, I was going to do it for a competitor and not for him. I was there for about 6-8 months. I worked with some really great guys over there. Mike Abadanza, who eventually became a 40 under 40 winner. He owns a dealership now in Tennessee. Joey Gabato, again, another 40 under 40 winner. He owns a dealership out in Texas. So I got a really, really good early education, even as far as my sales career was concerned, from some really great managers that are still to this day leaders in their stores. After I got back from, about 6-8 months I was there, my dad says, hey, if you want to come back over here, we're ready, you can come over. And I'm thinking, great, I get to go sell cars for my dad. And boy, did he shock me when I got there. And he said, nope. He says, you're going upstairs to work in the office with your mother. So I had to go work upstairs in the office for a year, learning tag and title and payables, receivables, how to stock in inventory. And then after doing that for a year, I finally went downstairs. I sold cars for 3 years at the dealership before I was moved into finance. Then I became an award-winning finance manager with Nissan before I was then moved to the desk. And then I became my dad's assistant used car director before deciding that I no longer wanted to be under the family umbrella. And I wanted to branch out on my own. Yeah, and I wanted to find my own success. It would have been very easy for me to stay the course and do it exactly the way my dad and my family had laid it out for me, but it just didn't really drive me. I always had to hear the shit from people saying, well, you're successful because your family put this in place for you. And I was really tired of listening to that. And I was really tired of that kind of that negativity, because honestly, I don't need that in my life, right? So I branched out. I went out on my own. I actually left the car business for about 5 years. After that point, I was 24. I was burnt out. All my friends were graduating college. They were all having a good time. I was missing out. I felt anyway. I moved down to South Florida, where I was originally from. I went and did mortgages for a couple years. I did really, really well doing mortgages. Eventually, I became a national trainer for Pacific Bancorp Capital, which was a Fortune 500 company at the time. I'd go around to all the different indirect brokerage offices around the country, and I would train their brokers and just kind of teach them that, the whole process of taking a refinance mortgage from a cold call off an Experian lead to a full 1003, to where we can actually now start packaging a mortgage refinance mortgage contract together for them. And I made a ton of money doing it. And then, of course, the financial crisis and collapse happened. The housing market blew up, and it happened in Florida, where I was. So I moved back to Georgia. I got a job at SunTrust doing mortgages for them up in Kennesaw. And I realized after about 2 months, I was like, man, I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. I'll be lucky if I make 50 grand this year. I said, I can't do this. So then even before I went right back to the car business, I was helping a couple friends of mine doing some music stuff. I was traveling around doing some stuff for Universal Records out in Seattle, Atlanta, just kind of doing some really cool, fun stuff. And eventually, the money just wasn't there. I was starting to get a little bit older. I couldn't handle the 5 a.m., at the club or at the event, and then having to be up at 9:30 the next day to be at work ready for 10:30, 11 o'clock. It just started beating me down. So I came back to Atlanta. I settled roots in Atlanta. And then I started helping a buddy of mine. My friend Tyler and his friend Alex were starting their own little kind of used car operation out of my friend Alex's dad's body shop. So we started doing that. We started buying cars at the auction, buying and selling them. And again, I did that. I helped him for about a year. We just had our own little falling out. It wasn't beneficial. And I knew that his focus was elsewhere, because his dad owns an amazing, amazing body shop out there in off Fulton Industrial, Circle Car and Truck. So if anybody ever needs body work done, they do phenomenal work, paint work. They used to paint Tony Stewart's cars and things like that. But his focus was there because his dad had already set that business up for when he left it, for him to take it over. And, I said, well, shit, man, I gotta go get a job, So I found an independent dealership in Marietta Square. And I just went and started selling cars for him. The first month I was back on the floor, I think I sold like 18 cars, nothing to rave about. The next month I sold 26. The next month I sold 29. The next month I hit 30. Then I hit 34. Then I hit 38. And, he was like, hey, it's like, will you run my store? I can't be here all the time because of how many cars you guys are now selling. Will you run the store for me? So we took that store in 18 months, from 15 cars a month to 100 cars a month. And we were just a little mom and pop shop right there in Marietta Square. And it was really, really good. It was a really, really good thing. And then I left there to actually open my own independent dealership. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out the way I'd hoped it would. Within 2 years, I was out of business. It's a lot harder to be an operator and an owner than it is to just work for somebody who has the flexibility of capital. I realized real quick that the money that I thought I needed about 3 times that amount. Just to keep everything going, just to keep the lights on, to keep the reconditioning going, to pay everybody. So a couple bad choices with some bad partners, and it was over. And then I just jumped right back into retail at dealerships, and it's been a grind. But I'll never take anything back or change anything that's helped me get to the point that I'm at, because it's a learning lesson. I spent a lot of time traveling to conferences and finding people that were in the industry doing it at a level that I had hoped to one day do it again at. And I surrounded myself with those people, and I did everything I could to put myself in their inner circle so I could learn from them, grow from them, become somebody that they knew, and became a fixture on social media, especially eventually within the car business. Over the last 6 years is what I've done really well. I've put myself in a position to where people know who I am. I can't say, obviously, I'm not some big national, I'm not a Shaka Dice, I'm not a Jim Ziegler, I'm not a Grant Cardone or anybody like that. But I know all of these guys. These guys have all been people that were mentors for me, that have helped me along the way. And I watched just kind of what they did, and I tried to absorb as much information from them as I possibly could. And I think that really helped me grow into who I am now, and who now I get the opportunity to help others. And advice or for a referral, or hey, do you know someplace that's hiring and looking for this? And now I'm proud that I get that opportunity to do that with people and help people in that way.
Absolutely. I think you said something earlier. You kind of touched on how you were a high school dropout. I think the automotive business is so unique in that as long as you've got hustle and grit, you know what I'm saying, you can drastically change your situation. You know what I'm saying, with all those things that you've accomplished from working with Universal and going around the country and doing different things. If you agree with me, I think it's mainly because just having that growing up in the car business and seeing what's possible. If you just put your,
my mom, and again, my family was all a car business family. My parents were not the parents that were like, you got to go to college, you got to do that. No, you know what my dad said? It always resonates with me. Get up in the morning, get off your ass, get moving, and you can change your scenario. He goes, no matter what you do in life, whether you're selling cars or you're selling oranges on the highway. I swear to God, this is what my dad used to tell me at 6 years old. Whether you're selling cars or you're selling oranges on the highway, if you outwork the guy down the street, you'll be more successful than him. And the one thing that I always prided myself in, and I've lost a lot of personal relationships because of this, is I will not be outworked by anybody. I will not be outworked by anybody, whether I got to give up sleep, if I got to give up time off, if I got to give up family time. I just won't be outworked. And I think that was something, that mentality helped drive me along the way as I relearned everything. Because when I left the car business, it was totally different than it was when I came back. And I really had to, I had to really change my mindset too, because I'm not an old school car guy, but I am. I've been almost 25 years doing this. I'm as old school as they come when it comes to the way that you structure deals and you put deals together and you generate, business. And I had to change that mentality, and it was not easy. It was a long process. And now that I finally feel like I've come out on the other side of it, I feel like I have the best of both worlds in that old school grit and grind of the car business with the new way that we should be serving customers, and we should be offering our service as a high-end buying service instead of a transactional one-time sale, which is what Ryan and I were talking about last night, which I think we'll touch on that when we get into the COVID-19 part of it. So I really think that, the effort that I put into continue to learn and grow and just work is really what helped me, take it to the next level.
Absolutely. So you were someone who kind of rose, through the ranks, you know what I'm saying, fairly quickly. Oh, yeah. I think that's possible, with, again, just hustling, grinding, and you got a pedigree of being in this before. For those new salesmen out there, I consider myself an automotive evangelist. You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to bring many people into this. It's such an amazing opportunity. What advice can you give to that new person that's out there? It's like, you know what? I'm trying to sell cars, but I know that I want to get behind that desk one day. What advice would you give to them to rise through the ranks?
Don't look at it as I want to get to that desk one day. I want to get into finance that day. Look at it as, how can I master what I'm doing right now? How can I master what I'm doing right now? There's an old saying that I love. It's from Rev Run, as a matter of fact. He said, you'll never be promoted for the position that you want until you're overqualified for the one that you've got. Okay. So as a new salesperson, okay, and this is what I look at. If I was going to promote somebody, again, I would rather promote from within as a leader in the automotive industry. I'd rather promote from within than hire from outside. Because when you hire outside, you got to get people accustomed to your process. People got to get comfortable with them. So especially when you're hiring a manager, that's tough. Okay. I've been a manager that's come into a store where I wasn't acclimated with everything, and it took time. It was a learning curve. But as a new salesperson, or even somebody who's continuing to grow their career, do more, be more, help more. Don't focus on the end result. Focus on what's in front of you right now. Be the best you can absolutely be at doing what your job is right now. If you spend too much time focusing on where you want to go, that's always good. You always want to have a plan, but if you only spend time and you have tunnel vision on only getting there, you're going to miss all the things that you need to be doing to ensure you actually do get there. Okay. You want to be the best you can be in the position you're at now. Once you become overqualified for that position, it's an easy progression to the next one.
That's a hit right there. I think my first GM at a Harley store, because that's kind of where I got introduced to high ticket sales. I was selling cell phones back in the day. Then I went to a Harley store, and I was kind of talking like, yo, man, I want to get into the internet department over there, you know what I'm saying? How do I do that? And he basically said exactly what you did. He said, you know, I've never been, you know, he said, I was always doing the job before I got the actual title of it. So if you focus on just getting better, you know what I'm saying, learn as much as you can, it's just a natural progression to put you in there. You're probably doing it for a while before you're even
and you know, I'll tell you how I learned how to desk car deals. How I learned how to desk car deals was as a car salesman, standing around the desk when I didn't have anything going on. I would stand around the desk and kind of watch everything. And I would wait, you know, for a veteran salesperson to come in without being able to close the deal. And I would look at the sales manager like eager, like, fuck, give me that. I'll go close it. And you know, and then it became a thing for these older veteran salespeople. They're like, do you want little Patrick to close your deal for you? If not, you better do this. And I kind of just started remembering all of those things. And that's where I really originally learned how to kind of structure and kind of load lips and do those things that the sales manager does on a day-to-day basis. And then obviously once I got to the desk after I came out of finance, then I knew how to put the deal structures together and how to submit it to the right banks, put the customer on the right car. And then especially once we got into the way Dealer Track and Route 1 and all that works, rehash and things like that. You know, it's harder to rehash a decline than it is to ask for more money, right? So, but again, it really just goes back to mastering what you're doing now. And trust me, they will take notice eventually. And you know what? If you've mastered it, you've been there 3-4 years and you don't feel like they're going to move you along or they don't have a plan in place to help you progress in your career, don't kill yourself by staying there. It's not a bad thing to go find another place. But if you do, make sure when you're interviewing, hey, I'm coming in as sales, but this is where I want to go. And I want to know that you have a plan in place to help me get there and what I need to do with that plan to make sure that I'm there in X amount of time, and hold their feet to the fire on it. Hold your manager's feet to the fire on it. Hey, you told me you were going to help me do this. I'm still selling cars. I'm still helping other salespeople. I want to learn this, and this. And just ask and just hold their feet to the fire. It's not terrible to bounce if they're not helping you grow.
Absolutely. So it sounds like, I know mentorship and leadership was, you know what I'm saying, a big factor in, you know, your success getting to where you are now. You know what I'm saying? What does leadership mean to you? Because when I think of, you know, a lot of managers in the automotive business, they think, you know, as soon as they get behind that desk or they get the title of GSM or what have you, they kind of just, you know, I'm hands off. I'm not going to do anything. I think we've all worked for that person, right? Who doesn't want to help you and doesn't want to do shit. But it's typically those active guys, which it sounds like you're describing there, those folks who are really invested in their team. You know, one, they sell a lot more cars, but also it just, you know, makes their team better as a whole. What does leadership mean to you, and what's your
you know, and again, I was always a great manager. Okay, I've always been a great manager. It took me a long time to learn how to become a leader. Okay, I had an ex-girlfriend of mine. She's probably considered one of the very best leaders in the automotive industry as of today. She's nationally known for it. I'm not going to bring her name up or anything like that, but she told me a while ago, a couple years ago, the true act of leadership. Okay, leadership is loving your people enough to hold them accountable. Okay, as a leader in the automotive industry or any industry, no matter what you're doing, you have to love your people enough to hold them accountable, because everybody loves accountability and everybody needs accountability. And if your people understand that you love them and you're going to hold them accountable to the things you expect of them, they're going to follow you to the end of the earth if you need it. That's leadership. Leadership is truly loving your people and holding them accountable. And the rest, I think the rest, you know, obviously you want to get out there and you want to be helpful. You want to be active. If you got to help make a phone call, if you got to help set an appointment, you got to do the things that you require and you ask of your people to do also. You can't be scared to do it. One of the things that I always say is, you know, a lot of times managers get to the desk and then they get what I call the Dunlap disease. Their belly Dunlaps up. And then they're so afraid that if they get out of their chair, the fucking thing will float away on them. You can't have that mentality. You just can't have that mentality. You are not a desk weight. Okay. You are a leader and you are a sales manager. Your job is to put car deals together. Now, if you've got somebody that does that active floor stuff, I get that. That's great. But you want to be in communication with that person also. Right. So I think that, you know, we as automotive leaders, we need to hold our people accountable, and we need to show them that we care about them, and that's why we're holding them accountable.
I think mentorship is something that's truly lost nowadays. Like, it just doesn't happen. I was blessed again. I had I'm prior military, and when I got on with the first Harley Davidson dealership.
Thank you for your service also, by the way.
Appreciate that, man. But my first big mentor was he was an old military guy, and he just always pushed that stuff in me. Hey, do this. And that just doesn't happen anymore. I see a lot of times that a lot of these dealerships where managers, this is what I think anyway, that they're kind of scared that they're training up their replacement, because let's be honest, once you get into management, the thing is that you're it's a lot of turnover. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Folks are switching around, moving around, and then boom, someone's elevated right into that spot. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, actually, I was always, and it's funny you bring that up. I was always taught, my dad, my mom, they always used to say, never teach anybody everything you know. Never teach anybody everything you know, because then they can take your spot. Mm-hmm. After I kind of grew, I went, good. I want you to take my spot so I can move forward also. I can't leave the position I'm doing and move to the next level if I haven't trained and helped somebody else deserving move into the position that I'm trying to move out of and on from. So I think we need to teach people early. We need to teach them often. We need to show them what it takes to get to the level we're at, so we can then take the next step. Because let's be honest, if you can't teach somebody to be a sales manager that can take your place, how is the owner going to ever make you a general sales manager? If you're a general sales manager and the owner opens a new store, but you haven't trained another person to take that role, how are they going to move you to the executive leadership position as a general manager in that store? And I think a lot of times that's where our executive leaders in our industry and in our business fail, is they don't want to train somebody because they're afraid they're going to lose their position. Well, you know what? Eventually you're going to, if you don't train somebody to do it. You're going to.
And, I know for me, like, my claim to fame, I've always been in the internet BDC kind of side of things. Like, that's where I really, that's where I really excelled at. And nobody ever taught me anything, I had to go on to, what's the guy named Sean Bradley, going on through his stuff. Of course, Grant Cardone's training, even Jim Ziegler, kind of taking some of his word tracks and just compile all that stuff together. And, I think that if you don't focus on developing people, then they're not going to really look out for you. Because when I was, got the opportunity to get promoted, I was like, well, shit, fuck them. They didn't do anything for me in the first place. Hell yeah, I'll take shit. I'm trying to push my stuff above them as hard as possible. Unfortunately, promoting that kind of dog-eat-dog mentality that's so, prevalent in the automotive industry.
And think about it this way. How hard are you going to work for somebody that's not interested in helping you grow in your career? How long are you going to put in those hours? And how much are you going to put in? How much time are you going to put away from your family, away from the things you enjoy to do, and kill yourself for these companies and these people that have no interest in helping you progress in your career? Absolutely. I mean, I personally will. I'll never again, ever again, work for somebody that has no intentions on helping me grow. Never. I'd rather figure out how to do everything on my own and do my own little side thing than work for somebody who has no intentions on, helping me grow and progress in my career. Eventually, I have my own goals. Eventually, I want to get back to the top. I want to have another store again. I know when I did it at 34, 33, I wasn't ready for it. I was more enamored with, look at me, I got my own store, than I was on actually keeping the store going the right way. You know what I mean? But eventually I want to get back there. So, wherever I end up next, wherever I decide to go next, that has to be something that's in the cards up front, or I'm not going there. I have plenty of places that have reached out to me. They want me to come on board. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not coming just to be a sales manager for the next 10 years. If that's all you have in mind for me, if you have no plan in place to help me grow into the next level of positions that I want to reach, I'm out. I'm not interested. And I know some people might say that that's, it's egotistical, or it's this, or it's, I really don't care. At the end of the day, I really don't care, because I've done enough in this business to where when it's all said and done, I know that my job is going to be to help other people get to the next level. And as I progress, I'm going to reach back and I'm going to pull as many people as long as I possibly can.
Absolutely. Why do you think folks are so, like, I see a lot of career salesmen or career, managers that are so content in staying in that one spot? You know what I'm saying? That always confused me, because I was like, I think I was 6 months in before I got put up to internet manager, and I was like, everybody else is like, nah, don't do it. Don't go into management. I'm like, why? That's where, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to progress and get better.
I'll tell you what, though, I'll be honest with you. If I started in the car business now with how easy it is, in my opinion, to sell cars in comparison to how it was when I first started selling cars. Remember, when I first started selling cars in 99, 2000, we didn't have internet leads.
Yeah.
We barely, CRMs were just becoming a thing. We didn't have one at our dealership yet. And as a matter of fact, when we got our very first one, we didn't have our own individual one. There was one computer in the middle of the showroom that everybody had to walk over to and log their stuff in, right?
That's crazy.
And then with the advent of social media and the way that people were able to personally brand themselves, honestly, if I was a salesperson or if I was just getting into the car business, that was so killer.
Oh, we lost my guy Patrick. Let me get him back in here. Guys, so I know that we've been having some issues with BeLive, unfortunately, where their servers, I guess, just aren't able to keep up with a lot of folks. A lot of folks are going live. There we go. He's back. Bring him back in here. All right. And mhm. Let me pause for just a second. I'm gonna reload it because it's giving me. I'm trying to pull you back in here. They've been having issues all day with this thing, man. It's crazy. So I'm gonna pause for just a sec, y'all. Bear with us. I'm gonna refresh the screen so I can pull him into the stream. Load. Boom. There we go.
There we go.
All right.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know where we left off, but like I was saying, with the career salespeople, I think a lot of times they don't have the drive to go further. A lot of people are very, very, very content making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month selling cars. They're just content with it. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Every single, what is it? There's a movie, Caddyshack, right? The guy's talking to the judge, and he's like, well, I can't really afford to go to college. He's like, hey, you know what? The world needs ditch diggers too. We need those 10, 12 salespeople, those 10, 12 sales per month salespeople. We need those 8 per month salespeople. We're not going to not everybody's going to be a 20, 25, 30 car person. That takes a lot of grit. This is a hard business. This is not an easy business. It's not easy to sell 25, 30 cars a month. It's just not.
With the amount of time that you have to spend here, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're just trying to be middle of the pack, there's still going to be times where, shoot, you don't get out of the dealership till 11, 12 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Especially, God forbid, it's tax season. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to buy a car. Even you can slip and fall into, 19, 20, 30, deals. So like with that amount of time that you're putting into it, I just, I never understood that mindset where, okay, I'm fine with making the draw. You know what I'm saying? Or a little bit over the draw, 2,000, 3,000. Like, me personally, I always, when I saw the car salesman and everything, those guys make money. And I think that's why most people are attracted to it. Because look, we here to grind. You know what I'm saying? You should be making, 70, 80, $100,000 if you're out here selling cars. That you should be. If you're not, then you're pushing to get better to get to that point. Right. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? It's just too much time to
work. If you look at the way the pay structures work at new car stores, hey, everybody who's not in the car business, let me let you in on a very huge secret. Salespeople make about $100 per new car they sell you. Yes, they make about $100 per new car they sell you, paid by the dealership. Now, if they have good CSI, which means you give them a good survey, means you had an excellent experience, the manufacturer will pay them some money. If they hit a certain level of cars that they've sold, they get a bonus. But they got to hustle. They got to be out there and grind. And if they don't, it's $100. I've seen people sell 12 cars and make $1,500 in a month.
Yep.
So if you guys think we're out here paying our mortgage off of one car sale, you're absolutely out of your mind. It is not the 1980s anymore. We do not make that kind of money on one car deal anymore. We got to put multiple deals together. We got to have happy, satisfied customers. We got to have repeat and referral business. That's how we actually get to that next level of income. So don't sit there and believe that if you're going out there to buy a car and that salesperson across from you is trying to get an extra $500 or $1,000 down or get you to pay $20 more per month, that they're trying to line their pockets with a bunch of money. They're literally doing that because they that's what they need to get to the car deal.
Mm-hmm. I wish, I guess it's just a holdover from back in the day when the car business was so drastically different. I don't think people understand, like, with the internet and all this stuff, and it's so transparent now.
Yeah.
It's just hard to make, you're not going to make $3-4 grand on one car deal. I mean, it happens, but it's like a rarity.
Very rarely. When it happens on like a specialty unit. You know what I mean? Like, it happens on like a Dodge Challenger Daytona wide body that they only made 500 of them, and somebody comes in, they're like, I have to have it, and they pay 20 grand over sticker for it. That's a totally different story. But on your average day-to-day, you don't have specialty units all the time. You just don't. I mean, even when they come in and they're specialty units for about 6 months. Then you have enough of them, and people are like, well, shit, I'd rather go 2 states away. This guy's giving his away. And then you're like, well, shit, I need to sell it, so I'll give mine away too. I mean, if people didn't, I always used to tell them, like, sometimes we have to lose $3,000 net loss to sell a customer a car. And they don't believe us. No, seriously. We have to lose $3,000 net sometimes just to sell an automobile. That is absolutely insanity to me. Absolute insanity to me. When people are out here paying 300% markup on furniture and jewelry every single day. But you never see Dan Rather jump in a camera, with his camera and stuff it in a furniture store or a jewelry store's face, right? It's always us. It's always us. And they always find the worst of us to actually do that too. That is not the common practice around the car business. We have upgraded the standard of the way we treat customers for as long as I've been doing this. As long as I've been doing this, and it gets better every single year. The customers have more control and more information than they've ever had, period, point blank, ever. They take the way the car gets sold.
It really shocked me. Like, when I went through training to become a salesman back when I started with Group 1, when I crossed over to the cars and everything. And they used to have this thing called target training, which it breaks my heart that they did away with it. Because, like, when I learned, like, actual real live sales training, like official, like, it was like, this isn't just sales stuff. This is life lessons, or at least that's how Phil, I can't remember his last name. I'm not sure if he works there anymore. But, you know what I'm saying? When I got into it, I was like, man, I'm thinking I'm going to learn cool. I could learn how to deceive people and manipulate people, but ultimately just like, be a good person. You know what I'm saying? Karma was like
people right.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Treat people right. You know what I'm saying? Take care of them, go above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Think about what they need, anticipate what they need before it happens so you can provide that. Really focus on being a solution provider, not this salesman or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Think out.
One of the things that I always trained salespeople was stop telling people what you can't do for them. People are real tired of hearing what you can't do to help them. What people want to hear and what we should be focusing on is telling them what we can do to help. Absolutely. All of this time that we spend, no, I can't do that. You can't do this. We can't do that. The customer's like, well, shit, I guess I can't buy a car. No, seriously. So if we start focusing on, hey, I can do this. I can make this happen. And we change the way that we deliver the message, we have a better opportunity to help the customer reach the end goal that they are actually out there visiting you for. And that's to purchase a vehicle. Like we were talking before we went live, there's generally 3 types of buyers, right? There's your pragmatic buyers. These are people that are going to be, they got a problem to solve, right? They got a high service bill that they just can't afford. They can't afford $3,500 to fix their car, but they got $1,000 to put down, and we can trade them out of it, right? You've got people that maybe they totaled their vehicle. They've got their insurance check. They have to replace a car so they can get to and from work. Then you always have your credit challenge buyers. You always have your credit challenge buyers, your equity impaired buyers who are just looking to upgrade. They got to get out of the car because they bought it, 3 years ago. The interest rate's 19%, but they've done good with their credit. Now you can get them down to 5% or 8% or whatever the case may be. Put them in a nicer, newer car with better technology, nicer features, and a warranty. And then you have, at the end of the day, that last buyer. This is the buyer that is starting to come into the market now with all this COVID-19 stuff. And these are your exception buyers. These are the buyers that no matter what's going on in the economy, they've already done well enough for themselves. They are the exception. You cannot tell these people, no matter what, that they can't go out and spend their money. Now, what we should be doing as dealers is we should be praising these people for coming out and be willing to spend that hard-earned money with us. Because if it wasn't for those people, a lot of these economic downturns, we'd never recover from.
Absolutely. So you kind of went into something, of course, it's on everybody's mind. You know what I'm saying?
COVID-19. I mean, we're all sitting at home from it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's out there. It's honestly terrifying because I don't think that, like, especially in the car business, like the biggest thing is that, my biggest thing always was, with the car business is I have job security because, I love the company I work for. It's great. They take care of me, help me pay my bills. It's really introduced me to a lot of things. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I know I can go out there and find a job somewhere else. But right now, it's like, whoa, AutoNation just laid off like how many people? 7,500.
Did you see CarMax? CarMax just furloughed 15,500 people, cut their CEO salary by, I don't know, 10%, 12%, something crazy like that. 15,500 people in one memo eliminated their jobs.
That's crazy, man.
But, and I know, listen, when it first happened, I was like, man, I'm not even worried about this shit. It doesn't matter. I'm not COVID-19, coronavirus, Miley Cyrus, flu virus. I don't give
somebody else.
Doesn't matter. That's somebody else's issue. Yeah. Then a friend of mine's mother passed away from it recently. My brother-in-law contracted it. He's doing better now. I had another friend, I don't know if you know him, Matt Koenig, another dear friend of the automotive industry. He contracted the virus, and it was rough on him. And he's not an old man. You know what I mean? He's a young guy, and it beat him up. And then I just went, ooh, wait a second. This is something that's serious. And then what I noticed was the fear that people had from how this could turn out for their health really kind of made me take a step back and say, okay, this is something we need to pay attention to because, number one, people are dying. People are losing their jobs. Family members are dying. People that are close to us, it's starting to get closer and closer to where we all live. I guarantee you when this all blows over, and it will blow over, when this all blows over, we will all at least know one person that we're connected through the 6 degrees of separation that lost somebody, or we lost somebody directly because of it.
I think it's actually already there, to be honest, because I'm thinking of it right now. Like, I don't know any. Well, I know like 3 or 4 people that have a very close family member. Like, one of our salesmen lost I think it was her cousin passed away. An ex of mine, her father-in-law, has it. He's battling it right now. Yeah. There's a nursing home right up the street where I think I have family members in that's, it's running rampant throughout the whole building. So it's already there, I think.
And the one thing though is, we've again, I've been around the business a long time. So I've seen the ups and downs and the waves, and I've ridden through them. And, obviously, September 11th was right around when I first got into selling cars. It was only 2 years after I started selling cars. And that was rough, man. That was a hard hit. People were scared. They weren't really spending money, but we bounced back and we came back really strong. And then when 2008 came through, man, it almost put a lot of people, it did put a lot of people out of business and almost shut down manufacturers. I mean, You're talking these major automotive companies that have been in this country for 100+ years.
Hallmarks of the country.
What they were going to do, and if it wasn't for the government bailout to come in there, I'm not sure that those General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, I'm not sure those guys would all still be in play. I think Ford was actually the one that was in the best position. I don't even think they took the loan, if my memory serves me correctly. But that's because, and the reason that, people always say, oh, why did the government bail them out, blah, blah, blah. Well, what they don't understand is the automotive industry makes up for about 20-25% of the entire workforce across the entire country. From car sales to automotive manufacturing, to parts, to supplies, to shipping. I mean, automotive is probably the largest job provider in the entire country, period. I could be wrong, but I mean, just based on, if you look at all the dynamics and all the moving parts that have to take place in order for me and you to sell the car that's on our lot, there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen long before we ever see the car show up on the ground. Then you have the banking side of it, the financial side of it. You have the auxiliary products with your gap insurance and your warranties and stuff. All that stuff ties back into it.
And not to mention the things that are, now that we have, Uber, things like Uber and Lyft, stuff that's depending on, the ability to service and have cars. And I know I know countless many folks that have that as a side hustle. And now that, what if that's taken off the table? Well, it's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Right. So, absolutely.
So with the layoffs, and I don't want to go too deep into it because my position right now, I can't speak too much on the layoffs and everything. But, what advice can you give to someone who's recently been furloughed or laid off? You know what I'm saying? Because, after watching you, man, I know you had a, day or two where it was like you were down, but then you just picked it back up and it was like so much energy and it really uplifted me.
It was tough. And it was tough. And the reason that it was so tough for me is because I took it personal. I truly did. I took it personal. I had never been laid off or let go or fired from a job in my entire life. Never. Not one time. So I took it very personal. I felt like how am I not essential enough to help you guys get through it? But then, again, talking with other people, they kind of explained to me, just the dynamics of that group as a whole. So I didn't actually look at it as a personal thing anymore. I wasn't able to help them move the needle fast enough in a store that had been broken for a while. And that's not my fault. You know what I mean? I can share my area of blame. Like we were saying, there's never a day that we're all operating at our full capacity. We could all be doing better. And I know there's areas that I could have done better, but it wasn't personal. It was a business decision based on what was going on and the fact that the store wasn't doing well already. So, it is what it is. And then now again, I sat and I sulked and I drowned my sorrows in a bottle of Jameson for a day and a half, which I don't advise. I don't give that as an advice to do. But when I woke up and I snapped out of it, I said, you know what? Now's the time. All these projects that I've kind of been putting off because I never had the time to do it because I was always at the dealership. So I figured, hell, I've got a little bit of time before I absolutely have to go back to work. So I'm going to use this time to try and bring those projects and bring those ideas to the forefront of my mind and bring them to fruition, or at least bring them as far along as I possibly can. I'm going to find people that I can mentor and others that I can help. And that gives me that energy, that gives me that passion, that gives me that drive to keep my feet moving forward in the right direction. And that ultimately will be back to a retail store. But I've got a lot of stuff I want to do. I mean, I've been wanting to do this interview series that I started last night for a couple years now. And I mean, I did my one interview with Duck. And I mean, within 24 hours, I set up 23 more over the next 19 days. I've got 23 of them lined up over the next 19 days. And I did that in 24 hours. And we're talking some people that people have never heard of and some people that are the upper echelon of who people know. And I know for a fact that as I reach out to more and as those interviews start going out further, I'll be able to reach into an even larger group of executives and things like that will help, grow what I'm trying to do, the idea that I have with this. And right now it's just content. That's all I'm looking to do at this moment is create good content that people can click on, they can find it, and then they can go, hey, I'm looking to talk, I want to know about leadership, or I want to know about advertising, or I want to know about used cars, or I want to know about finance. Eventually, within time, I'm going to have a segment of an interview with somebody who's at the elite level of that area of the profession that folks are going to be able to jump right into, click into it. And even if one person watches those videos and picks up one little nugget that they're able to use to progress their career, I've done my job.
Yes, indeed.
I fulfilled what I wanted to do from it.
That's what I did a video a couple of days ago, just to, nothing like this, but I just live video myself. I was like, guys, use this time. You know what I'm saying? This is the perfect time to build a brand. So many folks are at home.
I saw that. Actually, I did that. You had that video and a follow-up post about it too.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the keyest thing. I said it in there's a group. I think you might be in it, the used car managers group.
Yes.
Wendell Hardy, those guys.
Yeah, Wendell. Well, Wendell's a good friend of mine. He's he's somebody that, matter of fact, when it comes to mentors, let me just touch on that real quick. When it comes to mentors, Wendell is somebody that since I first met him, and I actually go back to the South Florida days. He knows my family.
Oh, wow.
And now I didn't know that until him and I had connected much later on in life, a couple years ago. Wendell's somebody that he can kind of read through a post that I have, and he could tell that it's something that I need. I need a mentor. I need a friend in the car business to come in and just give me advice, give me sage wisdom. And if I ever, if I text him at 1 a.m. and he's still up, that man will call me back and he'll spend 3 hours on the telephone with me, just shooting the shit or collaborating or going over ideas. Wendell is not connected with Wendell Hardy. He's the general sales manager down there at Germain Lexus or Germain Toyota down there in Naples. He's a great guy. He's a great person to have as a mentor. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Wendell is a great guy.
You good. Basically, all I was saying was, this is the time that everybody needs to really be creative and push yourself out there. If you're looking to do something different, or what have you, build your brand now. Even if you're planning on coming back and doing sales still, reach out, make those connections with customers. There's never been a time like this where I saw a guy that was doing a video the other day. On average, he maybe gets like 1 or 2 people watching his videos. He had like 50 people watching it. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because everybody's at home. Right. But I do want to go into what you were just talking about as well. Back into, we kind of talked about this before with mentorship. For how do you go out there, for the person who doesn't know, how do you go out there and find someone to mentor? Like, I respect this guy. I want to, I want to learn from him. How do you start that conversation?
Everybody's on social media. Everybody's on social media now. Engage with those people that you want to help you and mentor you. Engage with them. Ask them questions. Follow their content. Share their content. Share their information. Become a part of their day-to-day social media circle. And eventually, you'll grow up enough of a pair to go, hey, I need some advice. And they'll just say, and I guarantee you, they're going to say, call me anytime. I'm open for you anytime. That's how me and Shaka Dyson got close, and how he became somebody I could pick up the phone right now and I could call Shaka. How I did that was I followed his content. I found him. I followed his content. I liked his content. I connected with his content. Now, if you don't connect with somebody's content, move on to the next person. I connected with his message and the way he delivered his message, and I followed him around. I shared his content. I made sure that I had every chance I could. If I could meet him in person, I did that. And then eventually him and I just became friends. And then anytime I needed advice, or I needed hey, Shaka, how would I handle this situation? How would I do this? I could reach out to him and he would help me, and I'll tell you a story. When I had my store, it was Thanksgiving weekend. It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I was at my store by myself. Shaka calls me and he says, hey, man, he says, I'm in town. This is before he had moved back to Atlanta. He says, I'm in town and I'm right here on Cop Parkway. Are you at your store? And I said, yeah. He says, oh, okay. He didn't say, all right, I'm going to come by. He just said, oh, okay. About an hour later, he calls me. He opens the door. He comes in the showroom. Said, holy shit. He's here. And he didn't just pop in and hang out for an hour. No, he hung out with me for 4.5 hours and helped me through my day and helped me work my day. He didn't ask me for a dime. There was no monetary approach to that. He didn't try to sell me a product or anything like. He just stopped by. And then because he saw I was by myself and saw that I was getting busy, he stuck around and he helped me get through that day to make it easier on me. And that was because not only from social media, but then by having conversations and things like that. And that's, finding a mentor, it can be easy as just asking somebody, or it could be as more time consuming of absorbing their content, helping them share their content, helping them get their message out there, where now they want to know who you are. Mm-hmm. They want to know who is this person that likes all my posts and engages with me on all my posts and shares all my content. Who is this person? And then they want to get to know you. And that becomes a very different dynamic when it comes to mentorship. Also, if there's anybody out there that's looking for an early mentor until you find the right one, reach out to me anytime. If I don't have the advice that you seek, I guarantee you I know somebody that I can connect you with who does, and I have no problem doing that. And most of the people that I would be able to connect you with would have no problem accepting that connection.
And I just tagged Patrick in the comments as well. He's going to be tagged in the video once we're finished as well. So if you want to add him, send him a friend request, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to segue a little bit over into, kind of back to COVID-19. So obviously everybody's changed up their process. We've been forced to. Yes. I think the automotive industry for too long, honestly, has been behind the curve and really embracing digital. We're doing a much better job than hell even 3-4 years ago. Yeah. Back when I remember, folks thought I was crazy. Like, oh man, you're doing all this posting on Facebook and that's crazy. You can't do that. I would get in trouble for trying to do live videos and everything like that. And now, I get paid to teach people how to do it, which is so crazy. You know what I'm saying? But with all these changes that you made, do you think that we're going to be, the automotive industry as a whole is going to be forced into a new normal? Because customers are not getting used to it.
They don't have a choice. The automotive industry, the people in the car business, dealers, they don't have a choice anymore. It's been a slow progression into that whole digital retailing thing. And the manufacturer has been harping on it for years. Okay, this is not a new thing that the manufacturers are trying to get dealers to do. The dealers just wanted no part of it because they didn't have to. They didn't lose their co-op money. They weren't losing anything from the side of the manufacturer. They weren't losing allocation. They weren't losing those things that help them sell cars. So they didn't really care about doing that digital, the digital delivery and things like that. This has forced everybody's hand to at least figure it out, or they're going to be out, because once it becomes a more natural way of doing business, it's going to be the way that most people are going to want to do business. Now, you're still going to have, like we mentioned earlier, you're still going to have a few people that have no choice but to come to the dealership, right? You're buried in a trade, all right? If you've got, bad credit, you're probably going to have to spend a little bit more time at the dealership than just a digital retail operation. If you've got good credit, you got mid-tier credit, you can accept your price, click on the thing, get your financing, and watch Netflix while you wait on your car to show up, okay? But here's the way I think the top dealers are going to take advantage of this, and these are going to be the dealers that start delivering the message up front. First and foremost, while we're going through COVID-19, stop delivering the message as a way of selling them a deal or making them a deal. Okay, start selling it and delivering the message as a way to offer relief to people. Okay, think about this. All the manufacturers right now have some kind of payment deferment program. They're all doing these special APRs. There's still phenomenal incentives. We, as the people in the dealerships, the managers, the salespeople, the general sales managers, we now need to dig our heels in, start getting really creative on how we can offer relief instead of just offering a deal. Okay, if we got to work the deal to set up, hey, we'll set your trade up to where maybe we're able to cut you back set the deal up to where maybe we're able to cut you a check back for $1,000, $2,000. You can put money in your bank account. We can extend your payments out for 120 days. I know a dealer in Florida that's extending them out 120 days and then eating 3 more payments. So the customer is not making a car payment for 7 months. Now imagine if somebody is worried about what's going to happen with their job and they're driving a car that's maybe about to break down, and some dealer offers them a message of relief to where they don't have a car payment for 7 months, and maybe they can kick them a check back for $1,000 to put in their bank account. You don't think people are going to flock to that dealership instead of the one that says, hey, look how much I can take off MSRP on this car? Nobody gives a shit about that. You'll always take that amount off. You'll do that in any time. So why don't we deliver the message and frame the message to where it becomes, here's how my dealership and salespeople, pay attention here. Here's how you can frame a message to deliver to your audience without having to get approval from your general manager on whether or not you can do it, because all you're doing is letting them know how you can offer relief. And if you put that message out there and you make that message your message in your market, you're going to stand out a lot more than everybody else that's just delivering the same old boring message of come and get a great deal. Okay? A message of relief is going to offer an opportunity for a relationship. And like we were saying at the very beginning of the video, we have to get away from that one-track mindset of a transactional sale one time. We have to get into the mindset that it is a long-term relationship. It is a long-term partnership, not only between the salesperson and the customer, but between the dealership and the customer, the dealership and the salespeople in the dealership. It has to become focused that way, or we're gonna end up back in the same boat that we're in now. That's where we don't figure out digital retailing, and then when this all blows over, the dealers that did figure it out are going to kick everybody else. I don't know what to do, and one or two things are going to happen. They're either going to shut their doors or they're going to have to sell them.
I'm so excited.
And then those dealers that did figure this out, they're going to be the ones that come in and buy them. And like Rothschild said way back in the day, there's fortunes to be made when there's blood in the streets. The dealers that don't figure this out are going to be the ones bleeding, and the ones that do figure it out are going to be the ones making a fortune off of it.
So here's my idea. Just listen to you talking about that type of advertising that you can do where it's, again, focused on relief. By and far the most inexpensive, but also that will yield the highest return ad that you can put out there is so simple. Just having a customer testimonial video.
Yes.
So I think if you pair that with, let's get a customer on camera, just natural, no fancy.
Talking about
editing.
the relief that you were able to provide for them in times like this.
You know what I'm saying? Perfect. You put that out there, spend like, heck, I know I've seen the budgets of a lot of these dealerships. Shoot, you just put $500 into that, and it's insane. Because I know just off of, I think I showed an ad the other day that I ran for us, where we spent $250, and the return on it was $350, just the leads, not including the messages to the page, right, phone calls, and the text.
So some that actually submitted a full-blown lead. Name, telephone number, and email address. And if it comes off of Facebook, it's even better because you know the email and address and the phone number are legit because they have to use it to sign up for it. And then, in order to get everything, their notifications and all that other stuff that they love, they literally have to have their information correct in there. So this is somebody that absolutely wants to be contacted. It's not like your Car Gurus leads where you get a Car Gurus email and no telephone number. And it's basically people telling you to piss off once you do email them.
So let's talk about that, these other vendors and everything. What are your thoughts on them, on the Car Gurus, Auto Traders, Cars.com? What are your thoughts?
Do you want my real opinion, or do you want my opinion based on the fact that, they're our vendor part? I think they're all terrible. Okay. I think they're all absolutely terrible. I think they steal our customers and then sell them back to us. Okay? They have bigger advertising budgets. They have better SEO because they got a whole team of doing it, and they steal our customers right out of our backyard, and they sell them back to us, and then they abuse us about it. The number one customer of Car Gurus and TrueCar and Auto Trader and all that are the dealers, and they abuse us. They steal our customers, they sell them back to us, and then they raise the prices the next time around. I absolutely hate third-party providers. I think they are a evil part of the car business, and luckily I don't think that are a necessary evil anymore with the advent of social media and the way that people can optimize their website. If you dump all that money that you spend on third-party lead providers, if you put that money into your website, into your social media platform, and into your message, you can cut all those third-party lead providers out and not ever look back. I promise you, there's dealers out there that have already done it. They did it years ago. They've never turned back, and hurt higher, and they make more money because as well as I do, a lead that comes off your website converts at 30%, where these third-party market ones convert at 6 to 8%, maybe 12% if you're really good. And they don't make any money because you got to race to the bottom to even convert them. You got people that can come in on a Car Gurus lead that says $3,300 below average, great deal, and somebody will come in and still ask you for another $1,500, $2,000 And then in order to sell the car and justify the fact that you're paying these lead providers, you start pulling your pants down even further than what you already have on the internet.
That's terrible.
And I really wanted to go back to this. I was talking with David Cribbs the other day, and another thing that I think dealers should really, really consider if they decide to go all in with this delivering relief and providing a messages. Imagine how cool it would be if on your homepage or on your Facebook page, you have a ticker. And on that ticker, it's families, ABC Motors has offered relief to this month. And it just continues to tick over and tick over. And then underneath that, you have a drop down with all these customer testimonials. Could you imagine how powerful that would be for a consumer that's shopping multiple websites and looking at multiple dealer websites? Imagine the power and the message that that's going to portray, and that's going to display to the people that land on your site.
You just gave me a really good idea. You just gave me a good idea. That's dope, man. God, that'd be huge.
And it's something very minor. I'm sure you could call your website provider and they could put a widget in there that does it, and it probably wouldn't cost you anything. Matter of fact, I wouldn't let them charge me. I'd be like, no bullshit. You could put this together. I already pay you thousands of dollars a month. You're
putting all the content together. All they got to do is plug it in there. And I think the reason why the customer testimonial works so well is because it attacks the number one objection that we really don't talk about very often. The fact that when they hear that term car salesman, car dealership, they're thinking all these negative connotations.
They get the concept. They get that stereotype from the 1980s of the goofy looking guy with the plaid, the plaid jacket, smoking a cigar. Hey, come on, buy the car. It's not like that anymore. It hasn't been like that in 25 years. I always it's like when I laugh, I saw a meme recently and it was like, what kind of discount can I get if I pay cash? How much better is the deal if I pay cash? Nothing. This isn't the 1980s anymore. I'd rather the bank pay me the money anyway, because then I don't have to do all the extra paperwork when you bring me a sack full of cash. That's just more paperwork. Not only when I actually have to deliver the car, but then when I have to go make the deposit at the bank, I got to spend 3.5 hours at the bank going over every single dollar bill with the bank teller. That's a huge pain in the ass. Bring me a check or let's go through the finance company. I don't have time for all that other nonsense.
So with social media being what it is now, you know what I'm saying? I think the salesmen just have so many more opportunities. You talked about it briefly earlier before. How important do you think it is for salesmen themselves to build a brand? Not necessarily affiliated with the dealership, but their own personal brand for car sales.
I mean, I personally think salespeople should build their own brand outside of the dealer. If they decide that they want to move on and move and progress in their career and go to another location, or if it doesn't work out where they're at, they get to take that with them. If you only focus on the dealership, and this is something that my friend CJ and I used to talk about all the time, if you only focus on the leads that the dealership provides, you're not an asset. You're a liability. Okay? You are. If you're not bringing in your own customers, you're not building your own brand, and you're not producing your own leads, you're more of an asset. You're more of a liability than you are an asset. Okay? If you're just sitting on your ass using my telephone, my computer, and doing my leads, I can do that at the desk and still work car deals. I can make phone calls to leads, set appointments, get customers in the door while working car deals, and just hand them off to people. So if you as a salesperson have not figured out how to focus on building your own business, your own brand, you are severely missing the boat. If you are a 10-car salesperson and you want to go to 25 cars, you better figure out how to build a brand and start generating your own business. If you're relying on the dealership, you're not going to make it. And I hate to be, as blunt as that is, but if you are relying on the dealership to only provide you the opportunity to make a living, you are going to sadly be mistaken. And you probably won't last very long in this business. I hate to tell you, because even the best salespeople, even before internet leads, before social media, even the best salespeople, the ones that really did it, these were people that worked off a repeat and referral business. Look at Ali Rita. I guarantee you, Ali Rita doesn't take a single up. He doesn't have a single internet lead. The man has built a book of business from repeat and referral business based off of his brand. Same with Frank Cronetti up there, and I think he's in Pennsylvania. Frank's fans. I mean, these are the guys that are doing it at the elite level that people don't believe is true. Well, it's true. Their numbers are verifiable. They don't take ups. They don't have leads. They get everything self-generated based off of what they do to build their brand. Another great, matter of fact, my personal favorite, and he's a good friend of mine, is Mike Davenport. Mike Davenport has spent, the time I've known Mike about 6 years now. The time Mike has spent from when I first met him to where he is now building his brand is undeniable. Mike has his YouTube channel, Chevy Dude. I think it's just my Chevy Dude or Chevy Dude, Louisville Chevy Dude on YouTube. Go subscribe to his channel, by the way, if you like to follow good content. Mike's really good at that. Mike, literally, he gets leads just from his YouTube video channels, and that has nothing to do with buying or selling cars. He could just do a video of a burnout in his new Corvette, and then all of a sudden he'll get 6 leads to buy a Corvette.
See, but the thing is, it's because he's providing value. I think I've checked out his page before, like where he does like the reviews on the different vehicles and all kind of stuff. It's about building value, and I preach this stuff all the time. The way to sell on social media, it's not about the, I got a deal. Nobody cares about that. We've been conditioned so long. We've heard that for so many years that that's just white noise to us. Yeah. When you focus on, because, and again, for salespeople, the questions that you're going to get every single day. You know what our customers really want. Go on live and just answer those. You know what I'm saying? Again, become a value source for them, a trusted authority. And when you do that and you establish that brand, bro, like the money's just going to come. I remember back in the day, folks used to think I was so crazy doing that stuff, but then they couldn't understand how out of the blue, now folks are coming to me from anywhere and everywhere. Absolutely. I want to give this to the salespeople out there. For you who, are kind of new to social media, you're trying to get, how do I get to that next level? This one simple trick will drastically, over time, change your situation. As simple as this. And I think we as a culture need to get back to having a delivery ritual. I think ritual is a bad word, but delivery seller ceremony. Because I think a lot of dealerships don't do that like they used to back then.
I agree.
So, what I'm saying? As soon as you
make the customer feel special about what they just did, because it is special. And it can't be just special for them. It has to be special for you. Make a celebration out of it. I remember there was a store that I was consulting a couple years ago. The customer, as soon as the customer would buy a car, and again, it's something that a lot of dealers do. They got a big gong in the showroom, and boom, they hit the gong. Well, then if everybody heard the gong hit, everybody stopped what they were doing. If they were an employee of the dealership and they could hear the gong, everybody stopped and clapped and cheered and hooted and hollered. And while it seemed cheesy and corny, the customers loved it. And at the end of the day, you know what? I'll be the cheesiest person in the room if it helps me make a customer feel good about their purchase.
And on the sales side of that, think of what that does to the mentality. You know what I'm saying? Of a person who's in the showroom, who's on the fence and is like, I don't know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But they just seen somebody, oh man, they're getting a car. Oh, they're getting one too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Action, emotion. Motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. If you see people around you and everybody's ringing the gong and you're like, shit, I want to ring the gong. I want everybody to cheer for me. It might push you over the edge. It might push that customer over the edge for that extra $500, that extra $25 a month.
You know who
because they're like, oh man, I'm excited for all these other people now. I want to be excited for myself.
Harley Davidson dealerships. I'm not sure about all of them, but at least the ones that I've worked in, almost every single one of them have a fantastic kind of ceremony that they go through. The Mike Bruno dealer group out there in Louisiana, they have a whole deal where they have it's a droid, or it's not a droid, it's a drone that'll fly up and everything, and record. It'll go around, and they'll have everybody in the showroom that works there will line up, and even the customers will get into it. And you know what I'm saying? It's, you got to ring the gong, and then you got to go through shaking everybody's hands and everything. They're congratulating you, and it's on Facebook Live.
I love
Perfect. But even as a salesperson,
and what better videos to put together? What better ads to put together to generate leads and generate traffic than something like that? You could put your message in there. And you don't even have to use one video. Use a clip of them, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You cut up a bunch of different clips and you put your message in there of relief in a time like this. I mean, seriously, the lack of creativity, the lack of creativity in moments where we really downs me sometimes. We're ultra creative people. I mean, in the dealership world, but it like we were saying, it's always so far behind. It takes us 6 months to be creative on something we should have been creative 2 years ago about.
I just don't understand that mentality. I think that nowadays, we're starting to get better with it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go back, like the old managers used to be, old guys. Now it's everybody's getting younger and we're becoming
a lot younger. Yes,
a lot more creative with it. But I want to go back to the delivery checklist, guys. You know what I'm saying? For a salesperson, if you're not doing this, implement this. I promise you it'll drastically change the situation. It's super simple. As soon as you deliver that vehicle, they come out of the box or what have you, add that person to your personal Facebook page. Tag them in a post and do a live video and just ask them, hey, what was your experience? Or, record the whole. And
to double down on that, see if you can get them to agree to let you go live from their account.
Oh, now that's something. That's a hit right there. That's a hit. And the reason why that's so crucial, guys, is because, again, you got to think at any given moment, 1% of the population is in the market for a vehicle. Let's say that person has, I think the average is like 1,500 friends that folks have on Facebook. Right. That's 15 folks who are actively right now looking for a vehicle. And you just sold their buddy a car.
And imagine what their friends think of that, what their friends will think when they see that you allowed that salesperson to go live on their Facebook account.
It's huge.
It just continues to drive the psychology of the fact that you can be trusted as somebody who's going to help provide a solution or solve a problem, and that is a customer wanting a new, nicer vehicle.
Absolutely, and I think that's the number one battle. That's the number one thing you should be trying to sell is yourself. That I'm a trusted advisor. I'm not like that person you think I'm out there. Let me see if we've been going for a good little bit, man. You got to come back on and do this, bro.
Man, anytime, brother. Anytime.
And trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to hit. I know I'll end on this. So you've been doing this for a while. You know what I'm saying? You've met a lot of, I'm sure, interesting people. What is your most memorable sale throughout the years?
My very first one. My very first sale at Sutherland Nissan when I was 18 years old. It was a late night. It was probably 5 minutes to 9. Everybody had already run out of the building. All the veterans were gone. And we see this lady pulls onto the lot, old beat up piece of shit Datsun truck. She pulls over to the brand new Frontiers, right when Nissan had put out the crew cab Frontiers, sunburst yellow. I'll never forget it. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm trying to book ass out the side door. Daryl Hagee, Larry Schultz, my manager, go, hey, whoa, come here. I'm like, he's like, go talk to that lady. And I was like, oh man. He's like, you been here 3 days, you hadn't sold a car yet, right? I'm like, no. They're like, there's your chance. Go. So I go out there, and of course, I'm excited, and I do the whole process with her, bring the lady inside. And she tells me what, she's like, well, here's what I want to do. I want to put this much per month. We didn't even start an offer yet. She goes, but I have to have the yellow one. I will not take anything else but the one that we drove. I said, okay. So I walk up to the desk. Hey, boss, we're about 45 minutes into, hey, boss, here's what the lady said. And he looks at me and he goes, ask her if she could, I think it was $3,000 down. He goes, ask her if she could put $5,000 down. And I think she wanted to pay $475. Ask her if she could pay $550. So I walk down there, me not knowing. I walk down there. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, can you put $5,000 down and maybe pay $550? And she goes, well, I can put $4,000 down. I can pay $525. So I go back right to the desk and he goes, go, get your fucking paperwork done. Move your ass right now. Go. So I'm like, oh shit, like, is this something wrong with the deal? I got to get it done so quick. So I get my commission check from it. And this is one of those times, ladies and gentlemen, where you do actually make a good amount. We ended up making like $8,600 of the deal. I mean, the manager just literally just put the whole thing, he drove the lady into the ground. He really did. But she didn't care because she even saw it. She was like, I don't care paying over sticker. This is the one that I want. And it was brand new. You couldn't find them anywhere. And man, that was from that moment when I got that first, I went,
yep.
Oh, I can do this.
Yep.
I was like, I can do this. So that really drove me to say, and I don't care if it's 5 minutes to close. I want to make sure that my people know that I'm willing to go out there and give a world-class walk around, a world-class presentation, 5 minutes to close, even if the customer couldn't finance a donut hole. I'm doing it because you'll find one that appreciates it and they'll pay all the money for it. Because here's my opinion. And this is 100%. I believe that every single customer deserves the opportunity to pay full price for a car. And here's why. If we give them a world-class experience, we give them a phenomenal walk around, we give them great service before the sale, during the sale, they have earned the opportunity to pay full price for that car because full price is still a fair price.
I love it. My guy, Jay Griffin, always said, he and I'll kind of end on this. He said that, the thing is, they're not paying for the car. They're paying for the show.
Absolutely.
They're paying for the service.
Absolutely. They could go buy a car anywhere else. Think about the people that drive from like Alabama to come visit us in Georgia. How many dealerships do they drive by to come and visit us? They don't have to drive all the way to Metro Atlanta and deal with the bullshit traffic that we have here. They can stay in crummy Alabama and just buy a car over there. I'm not to knock Alabama. I've only been there once. I was just saying in comparison to, so Alabama, I'm sure it's beautiful and I'm sure there's great people out there. But, at the end of the day, really, like, why would people do that? Why would you drive from South Carolina to Metro Atlanta? I know South Carolina's beautiful. I mean, I know you drove from Panama City to South Carolina on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Obviously it's not a bad ride. It's a great place, but people come from all over, especially to come into major markets to purchase vehicles. Why? Because like you said, they're coming to buy. They're not just coming to. They want to buy the show. They want to be a part of something special and something important and something fun. And a lot of times, maybe their local dealer doesn't provide that or has not delivered a message to the customer to have the customer feel like they're going to get that kind of experience.
That's a hit.
So, I really appreciate you, Bump, man. It's been a long time coming. We tried to get on here, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I think that was when I was going through my layoff, and I think I slept right through it. So I really appreciate, you continue to follow up with me to ensure that we were able to get on this together so we could have a conversation, share it within your network, my network, and just remind people that, there's people like us that are out here, wanting to share information. And I know you are looking to always add good guests, as am I, for my upcoming series. So any way that I can help you, if there's anything I can ever do for anybody, Bump, the same thing goes to you, brother. Y'all just reach out to me. I'm real easy to find on social media. My page is public. I don't have a private page or anything like that. I'm not hiding from people like I used to. I am here to help. I'm here to give any kind of advice, even if you just need a pick-me-up, man. As you guys can see, I'm a high-energy person. I don't do fucking drugs. So I'm just a high-energy person. I don't do drugs and I don't drink coffee. I'm just naturally like this. From the moment my feet hit the floor to the moment I put my head on my pillow, man, I'm 150 miles an hour all the way through my day.
Let's get it. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all again for tuning in to the 32nd episode of the UpBus Podcast. This has been my guy, Patrick. Amazing amount of gems dropped in this, man. Y'all should definitely a huge amount of replay value. He's tagged in the comments. As soon as we end this, I'm going to tag him in the status as well, so feel free to add him. Guys, y'all be safe out there. Keep hustling. Keep your head up, man. We all going to make it through this whole deal.
All right, keep grinding, guys. Each one teach one. Love y'all. Bye.
Let's do it.